being criticized is not fun. I don't like it. Most people don't like it. I'm curious, how many people in this room, raise your hand, if you've ever felt defensive when someone's been criticizing you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's normal. You're not alone. And the reason why is because, yes, we have constructive criticism, which we do here at Toastmasters. It's a great example where, you know, we tell someone that they've done well and how they can improve. Unfortunately, a lot of criticism is not constructive. And it's shot with arrows that are very highly emotional and sometimes irrational. And so much so that we just want to defend ourselves. And also, criticism can shake our self-ego. It makes us sometimes look at ourselves and say, no, I'm not that person. For instance, if you feel like you're a highly productive member of your business and someone calls you a slacker, your self-ego is going to be shattered. So again, you're going to want to put up defenses and not hear the criticism. Oftentimes, when we get criticized, we do a number of things to try to shield ourselves from it. One is just becoming silent and walking away. The other one is denying it by using a lot of excuses and rationalizations. And the third one, which is the least constructive, is just criticizing the criticizer. So all those things, what they do is they decrease resolution and increase conflict and make the criticizer feel more angry. So what do? Our Toastmasters guide, the Interpersonal Communication Guidebook, gives some very wise but simple ways to deal with criticism. The first one is to listen and ask questions. What's interesting is when someone comes at you and being very critical, the more angry they are, sometimes means the more emotional history is behind that criticism. So, for instance, let's say you have a friend and they're very angry at you that you forgot their birthday. All right, so you're feeling, oh, gosh, they're being a little oversensitive. If you stop and you listen and you ask questions, you may learn that it's not really the birthday that they're upset about. They're upset because they're starting to feel that you value the friendship less than they do. So stop and listen and ask questions. The other way to deal with criticism that's being aimed at you is to acknowledge what the criticizer is saying, even if you don't agree with them. You say, you can say, I can hear that you're upset that I forgot your birthday. And that de-escalates the anger a lot because they're coming at you almost expecting you to defend yourself and make excuses. And when you acknowledge them, then they feel as if, okay, maybe there's groundwork, maybe this person really is hearing me. And on the dovetail of that is paraphrasing. In your own words, you tell them what you've heard them say. This, again, will make them feel heard and can help them articulate and say, no, that's not, when they hear you say it, sometimes they realize maybe they are being over the top. That's not exactly what I meant, and then they can add on. Now this fourth one, this to me, I know when I've been criticized, and I'm guessing other people it may be difficult for too, especially if someone you feel is being irrational with you, is acknowledging the truth. So if there's a grain of truth or a merit of truth in what the criticizer is saying, and you know that, for the sake of argument, you don't push it away, but you admit it. So yes, to the birthday boy, you admit, yes, I did forget your birthday, instead of rationalizing, oh, I really remembered, but I've been so busy and I got you a present. You admit, yeah, I'm very sorry I forgot your birthday. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to accept the judgment behind that statement. The judgment being that maybe you don't care about the friendship as much as they do. Still though, this is a gift. It may have prickly paper, oversensitive paper around it, but you open this gift and you can see that perhaps you have been so busy lately that you have been forgetting other important dates. So what's in your feelings of caring about other people is not showing up in your behaviors. So this criticism, this person may be coming at you, maybe they're too emotional, maybe they're yelling, maybe they're crying, and you want to just back off or defend yourself. If you can take the time to really take this in, then you can increase the well-being, the health of that friendship, and also just your own self-knowledge of how you're behaving and how your feelings you want to put forth as your behavior in the world. So, in conclusion, when you can remain calm and you can take the time to listen and really hear what that criticism is about, you can help de-escalate the anger and increase better communication and hopefully self-knowledge as well. That's the end of the speech portion. And now we get to have a little role play. And Mike will be coming up and we're going to role play dealing with criticism. So we're going to role play. And Mike, we all know Mike's a very nice man, a gentle man. So this is going to be interesting. He's going to have to act in this. So the scenario is that we are neighbors, so we have emotional history. And let's give ourselves different names so it'll be easier to role play. I'll be Mary Jane, and you can be Joe, the crabapple. And I have a big oak tree that's spewing branches on his yard. So he's going to knock on my door and be very angry with me about that.
Knock, 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 knock.
Oh, hi Joe, how are ya?
Not so good today. Not so
Oh.
good.
What's wrong,
It's
Joe?
just driving me crazy. Well, I've got a new patio that I put in my yard there. I put it in there several years ago.
Do you want to come in, by the way?
No, I'd rather not. I just...
Okay.
No, it's just, but, you know, every spring, your crab apples, they drop off that tree onto my patio and make a terrible, terrible stain. And I love that patio, and every year I have to go out and clean that patio because of your crab apples. And I think we've talked about it before. And what can we do about it? What can we do about it?
Okay. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry.
I hate crab apples.
I don't even like the name of them, and I apologize. We have spoken before about this, and you know what? You're right. I have been remiss in making the time to come over to clean them up, and I apologize for that.
Well, it's not only that, though. You know, your dog, you let that dog out every morning. He walks over the hedge, and he poops right there on my patio, too. And we've talked about that before, too. You said, well, I'm going to keep the dog in my yard. But no, he comes over all the time. And then your sprinkler, it shoots all over my head. Cactus over here, and I have water coming onto my cactus over here. I mean, it's just... And ever since my wife passed away, I don't think anyone's listening. You know, I mean, you don't listen to me. My own dog doesn't listen to me. The other neighbors don't listen to me. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with it all.
You know what? I hear what you're saying, and I don't blame you. I have been remiss in my neighborhood duties. First of all, I haven't come to clean it up, and I haven't trained my dog well enough. I didn't know he was jumping over. And now that I'm so glad you told me. I thought I had trained him to not do that, but it sounds like he's doing it again.
Not only that, he smiles at me.
I know that smile. He does that to me too. He's done something naughty. So you know what I propose? That I take more time to listen to you, and maybe you could. I'm going to give you my cell phone number, and I want you to text me or call me, whatever you prefer, anytime this happens. And I will try as soon as possible to take care of things. And I think that also, I know that your wife passed away last year, and I would like to have a neighborhood party and invite everyone over, and we could all talk more and understand each other more.
That sounds great. Thanks
Thank you.
very much
Thank
for
you,
your
Joe.
time.
Thank you.
That made me sad about his wife.
So, yeah, we can see that in some time, I mean, he did such a good role play there. And then usually people will be sticking on one subject and they're not as honest when they're in that critical mode. But that often is what, you know, we're at our rope's end and we're exhausted about so many other areas in our life. And, you know, I have to say, I had a new neighbor move in and their dog kept barking and barking and barking. I wanted to explode, and it had to do with other frustrations in my life as well. So it's good to catch and listen to other people, where they're coming from, and also when we want to go criticize and be critical of others, to be mindful of the reasons why we may be overcritical as well.